Lesson 1, Adding and Subtracting Integers Demo. Here's part 1. The first bullet point reads, integers include 0, the natural numbers such as 1, 2, and 3, and the opposite of natural numbers which are negative such as -1, -2, and -3. So here is 0 on the number line. These are the natural numbers, including 1, 2, and 3, and these are the opposite of natural numbers, which are negative, including -1, -2, and -3. When you work with temperatures, you work with both positive and negative numbers. 0 degrees would be right here on the number line. These are temperatures above 0 degrees, and these are temperatures below 0 degrees. These are temperatures that are warmer than 0, and these are temperatures that are colder than 0. Remember that positive numbers are bigger than negative numbers. Let's go over the next 2 bullet points. When adding integers, face the positive direction. And you can see here our kangaroo is facing the positive direction. When subtracting integers, face the negative direction. And you can see here our kangaroo is facing the negative direction. Let's go over our demo to learn how to add and subtract integers. We're going to go over 8 problems, starting with problem A and ending with problem H. Fill in the answers as you follow along with the demo. Once again, when adding integers, face the positive direction. When subtracting integers, face the negative direction. Here's the first problem, box A. Here we have 6 plus 4. So start at 6 and face the positive direction. Here's 6, and we face the positive direction. Now jump 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 plus 4 equals 10. Write it down. Next is box B. 6 minus 4. Start at 6 and face the negative direction. Here we are at 6, and we face the negative direction. Now jump 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 minus 4 equals 2. Write it down. Box C. -6 plus 4. Start at -6 and face the positive direction. Here's -6, and we face the positive direction. Now jump 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. -6 plus 4 equals -2. Write it down. Here's box D. -6 minus 4. Start at -6 and face the negative direction. Here's -6, and we face the negative direction. Now jump 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. -6 minus 4 equals -10. Write it down. Now in box E, it's going to be a little different. 6 plus -4. Start at 6 and face the positive direction. Here's 6, and we face the positive direction. But now we need to jump -4 spaces. How do we do that? We don't jump forwards, we jump backwards 4 spaces. So visualize where the kangaroo will end up. And let's jump -1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. 6 plus -4 equals 2. Write it down. Let's try box F. 6 minus -4. Start at 6 and face the negative direction. Here's 6, and we face the negative direction. How do we jump -4 spaces? Don't jump forwards, jump backwards. So let's jump negative 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. 6 minus negative 4 equals 10. Write it down. Now for box G. Negative 6 plus negative 4. Start at negative 6 and face the positive direction. We start at negative 6 and we face the positive direction. Now, don't jump forward 4 spaces, jump backwards 4 spaces. Visualize where the kangaroo will end up. Now let's jump negative 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Negative 6 plus negative 4 equals negative 10. Write it down. Last one, box H. Negative 6 minus negative 4. Start at negative 6 and face the negative direction. Here we are at negative 6 and we face the negative direction. Now, jump backwards 4 times. Visualize where the kangaroo will end up. Now let's jump negative 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Negative 6 minus negative 4 equals negative 2. Write it down. So these are the answers that you should have written down from the demo. And let's go ahead and complete this statement to the right as well. When adding or subtracting a negative number, you are jumping backwards along the number line. And this is why adding and subtracting numbers can get confusing. In our examples, sometimes we ended up with a 10, sometimes we ended up with a 2. Sometimes the answer was positive, sometimes the answer was negative. Sometimes we jumped forwards, sometimes we jumped backwards. So there are 8 different situations that we need to understand. So let's simplify that, and you'll see that we're going to cut the work in half. Let's start off with learning the rules for subtracting integers. The first thing that you need to remember for subtracting integers is don't subtract integers. Write it down. We still need to come up with the answer, but we're going to do it a different way. Take a look at number 2. Instead, use 2 strokes, write it down, to add the opposite. Take a look at box B and you'll see what we mean by that. Here we have 6 minus 4, and instead of subtracting integers, we're going to use 2 strokes to add the opposite. So draw 2 strokes just like this. 1, 2. And now we have 6 plus negative 4 equals 2. And notice now that it looks like box E. 6 plus negative 4 equals 2. So let's shade in box B and draw an arrow connecting it to box E. Now look at box D. Here's negative 6 minus 4. Instead of subtracting integers, let's use 2 strokes to add the opposite. So draw 2 strokes, 1, 2, and now we have negative 6 plus negative 4 equals negative 10. And notice that it looks like box G. Negative 6 plus negative 4 equals negative 10. Shade in box D, draw an arrow connecting it to box G. Now look at box F. Here's 6 minus negative 4. Instead of subtracting integers, use 2 strokes to add the opposite. So here we have 1, 2 strokes, and now it turns into 6 plus positive 4 equals 10. And that looks like box A. 6 plus positive 4 equals 10. Shade in box F, draw an arrow connecting it to box A. Last one, box H. Here's negative 6 minus negative 4. Instead of subtracting integers, use 2 strokes to add the opposite. Here we have 1, 2 strokes, and now we have negative 6 plus 4 equals negative 2. And that looks similar to box C. Negative 6 plus positive 4 equals negative 2. Shade in box H and draw an arrow connecting it to box C. And notice how we just cut the work in half. Instead of 8 different scenarios that we need to think about, we only need to think about 1, 2, 3, 4 scenarios. That's why at the bottom of the section it says, you have just cut the number of scenarios down from 8 scenarios to only 4 scenarios. Now let's look at the rules for adding integers. We're going to use zero pairs and a sports analogy of a positive team and a negative team. Here's rule number 1. If the signs are the same, either both positive or both negative, keep the sign and add the numbers. Here's rule 2. If the signs are different, figure out which team wins, then subtract the numbers. Let's practice that in part 2. We're going to use zero pairs and a sports analogy to solve these problems. Let's start with box I. Here we have positive 3 plus negative 5. Are they on the same team or are they on different teams? And we know that they're on different teams. So since the signs are different, we need to figure out which team wins, then we'll subtract the numbers. Let's give it a shot. Positive team has 3 points, negative team has 5 points. Which team wins? And we know that the negative team wins because they have more points. And by how many points did they win? We know that they won by 2 points because 5 minus 3 equals 2. So our answer here is negative 2. Now let's draw zero pairs to illustrate that. The positive team had 3 points, so draw 3 points for the positive team. The negative team had 5 points, so draw 5 points for the negative team. At the beginning of the game, if the positive team scored 1 point and the negative team scored 1 point, which team is winning? And so far, we have a tie game. So draw a circle to show that this is a zero pair. That means we have a tie game so far. What if the positive team scores another point and the negative team scores another point? We still have a tie, so draw a circle, and this is another zero pair. How about now? 1 point for the positive team, 1 point for the negative team. It's still a tie game, so circle a positive and negative to show zero pair. And now you'll notice a difference. What if the negative team scores 2 more points, but the positive team doesn't score any more points? Now who's winning? And you can see that the negative team is winning by 2 points. And that's why our answer is negative 2. Let's try box J. Negative 3 plus positive 5. Same team or different teams? And we know they're on different teams. Which team wins? The positive team is going to win. By how many points are they going to win? They're going to win by 2 points. So our answer here is positive 2. Let's draw our zero pairs. 3 points for the negative team, 5 points for the positive team. Draw your zero pairs. The winning team is the positive team, and they won by 2 points. Now for box K. Negative 3 minus negative 5. And remember, we're not going to subtract integers, we're going to add the opposite. So use 2 strokes. 1, 2. And now we have negative 3 plus positive 5. Now figure out whether they're on the same team or different teams. And you can see that we have negative and positive, so they're on different teams. Which team wins? Positive team wins. By how much? They win by 2 points. So our answer here is positive 2. Let's draw 0 pairs. Negative 3 points. Positive 5 points. And you can see that the positive team wins by 2 points. Last one, box L. Negative 3 minus 5. Don't subtract integers. Use 2 strokes to add the opposite. Here's 1, 2. Now we have negative 3 plus negative 5. Same team or different teams? And they're both negative, so they're in the same team. What team are they on? They're on the negative team. Since they're on the same team, add up their points, and together they have 8 points. Negative 3 plus negative 5 equals negative 8. Let's illustrate that so that we understand it. Here we have negative 3 points plus another negative 5 points. So here's negative 3 points, and here's another negative 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And altogether, the negative team has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. And that's why our answer is negative 8.